So interesting to notice who it is we assassinate. Do you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully.
Do you get your news from television, radio, or newspapers? Do you feel that, despite press releases, top stories, headlines, and sound bites, the news doesn't always give you the whole picture? Do you consider yourself a good, honest, tax-paying voting citizen? Do you hope that your bank has your best interest at heart? Do you sometimes feel that there's something hidden below the surface story of world events, but just don't have the time or energy to look into it? These questions may seem unrelated, but you will soon realize their correlation. So strap yourself in, and let's take a trip through time. In late 2003, we embarked on our first cross-country road trip from Canada to the United States. There was nervousness and excitement in the air. The world had seemed to have changed so much since the September 11th attacks. At least, that's what we were being told. Everywhere to be seen, countries going to war, calling each other evil, immense polarization dividing the people, the gap between rich and poor increasing steadily. Plenty of struggle to go around. And now, a new environment of fear, where anyone could be a terrorist, and we, the people, would have to give up our liberties just to be safe. I remember entering the new millennium with hope. Hope that things were getting better in the world. Hope that we were solving the big problems of the planet. Hope that my kids would grow up in a world better, not worse, than the one I was living in. In the span of a few short years, my hope has been seriously tested. We had to see for ourselves whether America was still the land of the free, home of the brave, or if it was becoming the land of the fear, home of the slave. Almost as a joke, I was given a book called Alice in Wonderland and the World Trade Center Disaster: Why the Official Story of 9/11 is a Monumental Lie. Now, I was never into reading any conspiracy literature, so I was satisfied reading the newspaper, watching CNN, and knowing all the pop culture infotainment news. I'd never actually read a book like this before, but the author seemed like he had some interesting viewpoints. At the Canadian-American border, our vehicle was selected for an intense search. They even called in the dogs. Somehow, I'd expected we'd be searched, found clean, and be on our merry way. But what happened next, I did not expect. After about 45 minutes, a gruff-looking border agent entered our waiting area carrying my knapsack with his arm outstretched like the bag was a piece of evidence. The agent approached me and told me he was interested in discussing the book. I was escorted to another area of the border facility, and they began questioning me as to my intentions in coming to the United States, what my knowledge of the book was, as well as whether I had any affiliations to political organizations. It was almost a blur, but I looked the agent square in the eye and told him the truth about what I was doing, answering his questions about where I was going and why I had the book. The whole time I kept wondering, half jokingly, what is the big deal here? It's a book written by a guy who thinks reptilian aliens are in control of humanity, right? I wasn't about to take a 9/11 conspiracy book seriously, and yet here these guys were, Gestapo style, treating me like I was smuggling a weapon of mass destruction into the country. After talking my way out of this misunderstanding, eventually we were allowed to enter America. The agents were even nice enough to let me keep the book, but told me that I would be put on some kind of watch list. And that was that. We drove to Texas. It was a great state with some really nice people. But during that trip and on the way home, the contents of that book were the seeds that grew into the journey of this film, researching a great number of subjects to do with the world around us, from governments and terrorism to economics, spirituality, industry, law, religion, energy, and the media and other subjects that have continually blown my mind again and again. I've spent literally thousands of hours researching, many sleepless nights, some nights even questioning my own sanity. I've traveled by plane, by car, and reached out by phone to discuss many subjects with many hundreds of people, and reached thousands upon thousands on the internet. This film is the result of the belief that there are some serious challenges in the world that need urgent attention, but yet haven't been identified by the majority of people. The cause of this is deliberate suppression by the powers that be. So the hope is that by reaching out to educate people, on a mass scale, a large positive change can be the effect. There is an awakening happening to all of humanity. The question becomes, do you want to stay asleep or wake up and open your mind? Everybody makes choices in their lives, each and every day. We base these choices on the information we have at any given moment about how to deal with a situation. As human beings, when we feel we don't have sufficient information to make a good choice, we seek information from others, placing our trust in their hands. Now, isn't it possible that the people that provide official information to you, the politicians, news anchors, professors, doctors, lawyers, generals, bankers, and other authorities would ever use that information to manipulate the public for their own gain? What if you had the power to buy up the entire world, to essentially play God with people's destiny through a monopoly on owning all currency? Would you own and control it all? Everyone's lives? Everyone's thoughts? It turns out there are people who would, and who are actively